Welcome to Makers International, a podcast of makers from 3 countries, 2 continents, and featuring 5 guys separated only by the same language. Here's your host, Richard Morley.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good times, whatever time it is, and wherever you're listening. Joined with me as always, Mr. Chris Cute.
Hello.
Mr. Jason McGinn.
Good day, folks.
And Jamie Page.
All right, am you?
Joe's not with us this evening. He's got other things to do by all accounts, but we do have a very interesting chap on this evening with us. It's not, I don't think, going to be like an interviewee type thing, but it's going to be fun anyway, because I want to know what Mr. Mike Fulton has got to talk to us about tonight. Mike, how are you getting on?
Hey, how's everybody going?
Yeah, not too bad. We'll give you a few seconds just to compose yourself and work out what you're going to talk about, because it's not like an interviewee type thing this evening. So I'll just run through kind of the normal script, and then we'll get back to you in just a second. So hang in there just for one bit. Let's pause the live bit on there.
I gotta say, I'm pretty excited. I was always wondering what it'd be like to interview Mike Fulton.
But we won't find out this week.
There was this show, I remember. It was Maritime something or other. I think Mike was the spotlight on that show like 20 times.
I thought that was like his show, actually. But apparently not.
At the end of each show, it was like, yeah, take 2.
Yeah, I remember the end of those shows. You ever going to spotlight Jamie? No, we're not going to do that.
I got it, though.
Yeah, you finally did. All right, Richard, crack on with our sponsor so we can get onto this. We get on with this thing.
I will try, as long as Jamie and Jason don't try and derail me again. But yeah, okay. So this week's shouts and thank yous very quickly go to Jim Dockrell, Greg Dykes, and Harnell Media. Also, a huge shout out, thank you to everyone who sort of gets in touch with us, talks to us over social media and all the rest of it. We do have loads of people in the live chat currently. I'll just grab a couple of names as they scream past the screen. Dave, the wood barber, Be Happy Woodworking, Nate from a Young Man's Workshop that is Red's in. There's just loads of people, too many people for me to actually read on the fly. We love it when people get in touch, and hopefully tonight the chat is going to go absolutely mad if things go according to plan. Don't forget, we are also on SoundCloud, although, as always, I didn't manage to get over there in time to see what comments are happening. Today's podcast is, of course, brought to you in part by Yorkshire Grit, the Woodturners Abrasive Paste, and also our good friend Chad over at Mancrafting, and we are still giving away his mug every month. If you want to find out more about our sponsors, head on over to our website, makersinternationalpodcast.com/sponsors, and there is all the information there that you need to go and see what those guys are up to. So, Chris, I don't think we've got any random listener questions this week, have we? But is there anything anyone else wanted to bring up briefly before we hit Mike with the spotlight?
Yeah, I can quickly bring something up. Hopefully not your dinner. No, luckily. No. Our official Facebook page just reached 900 likes this week, so thanks everyone for that.
Awesome.
That's following us over there.
I like it. Hey, we're getting kind of somewhat popular. Anyway, but Richard, I did want to add one thing though before we get started today, if that's okay with you.
Go on then.
Okay, well, I know it's a struggle, but I mean, bear with. I just want to point out that for those of people who are listening to us and are not actually in the live version of this podcast today, that the idea that we're going to be talking about is 100% Mike's idea. And any suggestions or thoughts that you might have outside of today, of course, those of the people who have joined us live today, please feel free to chime in, and we actually encourage you to do so. But if you're not listening to us live today, then you have an idea to go along with what we talk about today, then send it to Mike. Let Mike know what's going on, because this is Mike's idea. This is his baby. We're just here to help him try to get things figured out so that it can move forward. So if you don't mind, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. If Richard, if you want to kind of let Mike, Chris, I don't know, or
Chris,
how we're going to handle it.
Do we have a link in the description there, Chris?
To
contact Mike.
We will. Yes, we don't have it today in the live, but we will have it by Wednesday when this comes out on both, SoundCloud, iTunes, and also on YouTube. So yeah, we'll have it there.
Excellent. Well, we've kind of got a plan in place, but at the moment we don't really have a topic. So Mike, what is your awesome idea that we're going to thrash out this evening? Talk us through it.
So let's begin with saying I had this idea, and it's all in the brainstorming phase at this point. So there's a lot of, after talking with Chris a little bit about this, there's a lot more to it than what I originally anticipated. So here's the idea. I want to call this series, I guess we can call it, Throwdown Thursday. Now what this means is two makers go head to head, make a project, and the viewers will vote on the better project. So for instance, say me and McGinn go against each other, and we're going to make the same project. He'll make it his way, I'll make it my way. We'll show him off, maybe do a 2-minute little segment saying, okay, here's my project, here's how I made it, here's what I used. Do you like it? Vote for me. I'll do the same thing on my channel, or put them both together on each channels. That's kind of the brainstorm of this little segment. But anyway, let the viewers vote on the project that's going to win, and then the winner of that Throwdown Thursday takes on the next guy the following week. That was the original thought process in my head. Now, after going and talking with Chris for a little bit about this, is how are we going to get people to sign up? How are we going to get people to commit to at least 2 weeks worth of projects? And how often should we do this? If anybody's even interested. And also, how long should the winner go forth? If I win, should I keep going week after week after week if I keep winning? Because that'd be a long commitment. Or should we just cut it off at like 2 weeks? I won 1 week, I'll take on the next guy. And if I win again, pass it on to 2 new people. Okay. That's where all the brainstorming goes.
So what if we had it in like, like when they have the playoffs, there's a playoffs chart, so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so kind of structure.
Like a bracket?
Yeah.
So you could do that, but I think in order to do that, Jason, what we would need is from the community, the people that want to get involved in it, they would need to sign up to be involved in it, and before it even started.
Oh yeah, and commit to it. I mean, if you say you signed up for this, say a Sweet 16 bracket, I mean you're hooked for 16 weeks.
If you continue to win. If you don't continue to win, then you get eliminated, and then you're down by the wayside. But one person obviously would win the entire thing.
Sure.
But whether they jump in on week 1 or week 7 is going to be the difference. So that's theoretically it's possible for somebody to be one of the first 2 contestants and go ahead and have to spend 16 weeks doing it. But in reality, that probably isn't going to happen. Just the odds are just not there. Yeah, I think that Jason, that's not a bad idea, but you're gonna have to Mike would have to coordinate that and set that up prior to even launching it, and have commitments from however many people, Mike, you want to get involved. And my initial thought was that we're opening this up to anybody in the community that wants to get involved would have an opportunity to do so. And so as you find out what the interest is, that will be either a big field or a very small field that you'll be initially setting up beforehand.
So I'm guessing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Logistically, to manage it, I'm thinking first thought is like a web page, like a central location would have to be like a web page or something that can be put across all mediums. That because some people are on Facebook, some people are on Instagram, some people are on YouTube.
And we talked about that too. Where's the best place to get people to sign up? Because they're going to have to be. If I go forward with this, I mean, there's going to have to be some sort of form. There's going to have to be some sort of, you and me commitment. And, even if there's interested, I mean, I don't want just newbies on here. I want everybody. I want all you guys. I want, Dresta. I want, everybody, I want people to actually get involved with this. But I understand that is a large commitment if I go forward with this. So that's kind of why me and Chris was talking about, cut it short at 2 weeks, or, just maybe even simply just take 2 people and throw them head to head and see who wins. And
but each bracket will have multiple competitions going on, right? On the same level per bracket, right? So first of all, somebody doesn't do their thing, they lose. It's easy enough. That other person who did their project, even if it's a stick they carved, goes to the next round. Maybe each bracket has a time frame, like a month. And so it's not, you don't just have 2 weeks to make a project. You have a month to make a project. And, if you do it right at the start, you still have the rest of the whole bracket that needs to finish anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of gives people time in between rounds, so to speak.
Well, I don't want elaborate projects on this. I want budget-friendly projects, user-friendly projects. Even shop jigs or shop projects, something like that. I don't want people making furniture. I mean, that'd be ridiculous.
Oh no, and that's not gonna. I mean, nobody would have the time really to do that anyway.
Pencil holders, stuff like that. Dartboard cabinets. It's something that you can knock out in a weekend. Weekend projects, DIY stuff.
I've got a couple ideas, Mike. But first of all, let me ask you, if you wouldn't mind, if it's possible, could you pull your microphone a little closer to your because you're a little soft as far as hearing. The one thing I was I hope I didn't just lose my thought because I was just thinking about something. Damn it, I did. It's gone. I'm sorry. I apologize. It just went right out the window, but I know it'll come to me. I'll bring it up later. I'm sorry. I hate to interrupt.
I saw Nate from the Young Man's Workshop. He's put, my opinion, he goes, bracket sounds awesome, but make sure it's an apples to apples comparison. So set the 4 projects ahead of time. So the first 16 have all the same project, then the 8 have the same, and etc. etc.
No, that was my thought. Okay, thank you, Nate, for reminding me of what I wanted to say. Because let's say Mike, you get the first people, yourself and whoever else you want to get involved in this initially involved. Okay, now you two are going to have a conversation behind the scenes that obviously the viewers will not see as to what projects you guys are going to make to go head to head with each other.
Right.
And then let's say, for instance, let's say you lose. Whoever you take on is the new winner. They have to go out and, I guess, either through the sign-up process that Jason's talking about, find somebody who wants to compete with them for the next week or the next project that's going to be done under this title, and then those two behind the scenes then have to decide on a project they both feel comfortable doing head-to-head with one another.
Right.
Yeah, you could even. Like with the stages, you talked about, you could have pencil projects or shop jigs, something like that. You could potentially go, let's say you did like 16. So you could play, to my mind, it kind of sounds a bit like a football tournament rather than a linear winner stays on kind of thing. Like,
okay.
No,
the tournament ideas, yeah. So
you kind of go to a bar and you play the pool table, and the winner stays on, and the next person, you end up playing from one pool table all evening, don't you? If you think of like a tournament, you could have, just like the World Cup. So you've got groups, you've got quarterfinals, semi-finals, like almost like a maker league, but not from a point of making it a league or a tournament style thing. That would potentially give you more control in terms of, or rather more time for the contestants. So just like Jason was saying, if you play in the first 16 people, you say, right, so person 1 and person 2 are doing this week, and then person 3 and person 4 are doing that week. And then you've got to go all the way down to 15 and 16. But all of those 16 are, say, making a shop jig. And then the next 8 have got that time. So if somebody who works an 80-hour week in an ER, or has got a lawyer and they've got a big court case that just takes up all of their time, plus their family and their vacations and all that sort of stuff, it's a little bit more what's the word?
Forgiving.
A bit forgiving for them, yeah. And they've got sort of more control over the time. And then presumably those people that go further on in the stages, you could say, right, instead of it being every week or 2 a week for the first 16, you could say, right, the next week there's 1 a week. So that gives you 8 weeks. And then you could do every other week. And does that make sense?
Well, yes, it does. And Richard, it does. I mean, I get what you're saying, but here's the first initial bug in the ointment, if I can put one in there, is let's say, for instance, Richard, you and I are going head to head with each other, okay?
Obviously, I'd win.
Well, obviously you would, and I'll tell you why. And I'll tell you why for this reason.
He said that about the router challenge, by the way.
But well, no, think about this differently, guys, because in order for this to actually be fair, there almost has to be a neutral voting point. Because Richard is sitting there with 15,000 subscribers, and I have what I have. And just by sheer numbers, Richard is going to get more votes for. I mean, maybe he will be, but let's just say in general terms, just because the number of people that follow Richard's channel as opposed to people that follow my channel, he's going to get many more people saying Richard did better than Chris, because I just don't have, we're not equal. So where do we find we need to find a neutral voting point for these folks that are watching these videos. Otherwise, it is completely unfair.
I think that's going to be the biggest challenge right there.
I think I can kind of answer that, because I've got nearly 2,000 subscribers, but then you look at the community.
Yes.
In that as well. Now that's where it completely differs, because I can get a hell of a lot more votes in the community than what I could off of YouTube.
So what we could do is all those people that wanted to take part could all say, right, 2-minute video on my channel. I'm taking part in this challenge. It's being organised by Mike, and it's going to be on the Mike Fulton Tournament Make-Off channel on YouTube. And you set up a whole new channel, brand new, like the Wandell Heinz Project channel, and the only people that want to, and that would then level the playing field for you know what, 22 subs and Mr. Million subscribers.
I don't know that a YouTube channel is necessary, because. From a lot of different reasons, I think the way this might work better is that if everybody linked to like a Facebook page or an Instagram account or something that is totally void from YouTube, but at the end of each video, people go, here is the page to go to, and the link is provided in the description. Click on that, and that will take you to where you can vote for whoever wins.
Mark Lindsay just put a comment over in the chat. You can actually do a blind vote over on Instagram.
You can?
Yeah, there's a voting thing that you can do over there. I remember seeing it before.
I don't remember.
But anyway. I just want to back up one step if I could.
Sure.
Because I saw William here in the chat put a post in, and you guys were talking about the actual like structure to it and how we could have issue points and things like that.
How to operate it, yeah.
Yeah, he actually suggesting instead of having a challenge where you work your way down to a final point, like a ladder system or whatever, that you have a season, just like we're kind of mentioning there, like it's a league.
Yeah, the maker league.
And per entry, you enter, and even if you lose, you still get a point for losing, like for entering. And the person who wins gets, say, 2 points. You know what I mean? And then at the end of the season, you go to playoffs, and that's where you can have you have these people who all were involved all year, and now that's the crunch challenge kind of point of it, where it brings it down to
fantasy football type situation.
Same kind of structure, yeah.
That sounds like a headache.
Yes, but it takes away the, because my initial thought to this is that you're putting a time frame on people for each round. And the way I work, like I think I have time next month, and the next month comes, and then all of a sudden there's nothing I can do to have time to do what I need to do. But if I had a whole season to work on it and I can chip away, this month I can get in 2 rounds. Next month I can get in another round. I can build up maybe 6 points.
So you're saying like the more projects you pull off throughout the time frame,
The season, we'll call it, yeah.
The season, yeah.
the more points you can earn, and then
And obviously, if you win,
yeah,
you get more points, right?
right. And then at the end of the season, you could whoever has the most wins.
And then at that point, everybody who enters is automatically there on this list. You can have. I don't know. I think that part of it needs to be
tweaked out, sure,
organized,
and that's why we're here
to move forward. Yeah.
Because
well, then then let me ask a question that may simplify things, may not. Because when we first were talking about this, Mike, you and I were talking about, like, let's say you make a box, I make a box, we let people figure out which box is nicer, and then move on from that way. Rather than doing that, what if we limited, or if you were able to limit the amount of entries per week to 2 people, okay? And let's say 2 people, whatever, let's say they put a video in the can and said, Mike, like Jason said, I have time to do it now, but a month from now I may not be able to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and do my video now for you. Mike, my video is now done. I have the URL for it. It's unlisted on my channel presently. You let me know when you want me to make this public, and somebody else makes theirs public at the same time, and then coordinate the voting that way, so that you may have 16 makers behind you that already have videos done. They're just waiting for you to coordinate the build. And the build, for instance, I could make a box, and the video I'm going against this week could be Charles Daring doing a scroll saw pattern, or Jamie, or Richard doing a router video. I mean, it doesn't have to be the same project, I guess is what I'm saying. Would it make it? I guess the project and the maker, we're not looking at makers at that point in time going head to head. We're looking at the maker and the project. Which project was more interesting this week? Was it this box that Chris made, or this portrait that Charles did, or Jamie did? Is that an idea that might simplify things a little bit? I don't know, Jason, what do you think?
I think if you do it that way, you complicate the scoring process.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that kind of takes you back to the apples and oranges scenario, doesn't it?
It does. I know it does. I just didn't know if it was
honestly, if you do it that
but
way,
I like the idea.
It's no different from just uploading a video whenever you want.
Yeah, it's true. The only difference would be, Mike, is that they would be coordinating it through you to be part of this, collaboration, as opposed to just putting a video out on your own. It would be taking part in a community collaboration thing that, hopefully will grow.
Or what if there was a spot to say, all right, I'm making this pencil holder today. Is anybody else making this type of thing? And would like to challenge.
Yeah.
So you can issue a challenge out. Say, here's the kind of thing I'm doing. Is anybody interested in challenging me to, a duel, a maker duel?
Yeah. Slap around the head.
One fight.
Yeah. Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, that's not bad. I can see that being okay.
Yeah, because actually, if you did that, let's say Jason does his pencil pot, and then he just puts the video out and says, who wants to challenge me to a pencil pot build? And Jamie watches it, and goes, yes, I will. I challenge you. And then those 2 videos go together to be judged. It doesn't matter that Jason's has already released, say, a week previous. You could say, you could go to your central place, wherever it's going to be.
Wouldn't you want to somehow in the same video, or
yeah, you would. Yeah, Mike, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, I think you would
want it in the same video. Here's Jason's project and here's my project, and which one do you like better? Vote over here at wherever.
And also, I mean, anybody could put out, if I'm making a pencil holder, and so I make a pencil holder and someone look at it and go, oh, well, I'll just add this and this. So maybe you don't want to have it out beforehand, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, but you could kind of fudge that in the editing, couldn't you? Do you know what I mean? It could be like you and Jamie have the conversation and say, should we do this? In the background, we'll do our thing. So you record your video making your pencil holder. who wants to challenge me, and then you can edit into that, Jamie. Yes, I challenge you, and you've got your 2 videos. So it's still the duel, but it's kind of prearranged between 2 people.
That makes
behind
sense.
the scenes, and then potentially to kind of umbrella that, Mike could go, right, okay, at the makeaduel.com or whatever, the central point, we'll do a pencil holder, we'll do a scroll saw portrait, and we'll do a chair. 3 things, and then you can go, oh yeah, I quite fancy making a chair. Who's up for making a chair? You're almost getting people to collab parallel to the actual competition, and then when the video comes out, it's already kind of prearranged that you 2 are doing it. You've made your draw, then it's up to everyone else to vote on it.
I like the idea here. William and Mark Lindsay and Charles Deering are talking about that you could submit a photo of your project without actually indicating who you are. And that way it's a non-biased, people look at the 2 pictures and pick the one they like the best.
That's a good idea. Like, both send them to Mike, and Mike can just say, right, A or B.
It's not like, oh, Dresta did that. Sweet, I'm voting Dresta, even though you like the other one better. You just...
and we're talking about posting them both blindly to an Instagram. And Mike, it would be Mike that would be posting those photos to his Instagram for the feedback.
A web page or wherever it is, and the submission would be the users, I guess, or a form they fill out and attach.
Let's step back just 1 second here.
Mm-hmm.
Mike don't have a whole lot of time here.
Hey.
Mike just wants to have fun.
Jamie's got a whole lot of time.
Now we're talking.
Jamie can help.
Now we're talking about web pages and mounds of logistics here.
You are talking about a pretty complex challenge.
That's kind of what I was hoping to brainstorm here to make it simple, fast, and easy.
If you went down the photograph route,
it's got to be fun.
If you went down the photograph route, you could do an Instagram story, because there's a thing on there where you can vote yes or no, or A or B, isn't there?
Yeah.
When you do you just upload your 2 pictures, and there's like a slidey thing where you can just literally click on the picture, you look at it and go A or B, or yes or no, or whatever the text is you put in there. So then that's just a case of, and actually all you need to do is, if I made my pencil holder and Jamie made his pencil holder, we both take a picture of it and put it on our own Instagram stories, tag Mike in there, and then you'll get that on your Instagram. I'm assuming you're on Instagram, of course, here, Mike.
Yeah.
You'll get tagged in that, and then you can add those pictures to your own story, whether that's your own account or you set up the Make a Duel Instagram page, and then anyone following that page can just, whenever they come up, there's today's duel, I'm voting for that one or that one, and you needn't even know who posted the picture, and you could do that while you're
logistically, that's better.
Except people like Chris Cute won't be able to vote because he doesn't have Instagram. Well, he does, but he's never on it, so he might not ever notice. Or myself.
But that's no different to, we've got a general election coming up this week, and I want that party to win, but I'm not registered to vote.
And that's fine, because if I get involved in it, then I'll get on Instagram. It's not like it's impossible for me to do so. It's just inconvenient. So
I wasn't throwing you under the bus, Chris. I was just
I understand. But
I drove over him.
Jason, I totally understand what you're saying. I'm just saying, if the desire is there to get involved, then I think people can get involved if they really, really want to. It may not be convenient, may not be easy, but you know what? It's possible. So, I'm not going to discredit anything. Just because I don't spend a lot of time on Instagram doesn't mean that isn't the best venue to have this contest be judged. That's, it's pretty obvious. If it's the easiest thing for Mike to do, then that's what we need to be focused on here, because Mike has the idea, but Mike doesn't want to spend 12 hours a day managing this idea. He wants to set the ball in motion and let it roll.
Yeah.
And I have a kind of a bit of some experience with this, and the fact that back in the day when I was doing the Channel Pass series that I did, I kind of set the ball in motion, hoping that it would roll. And occasionally I had to go in and be the parent and get things rolling again. But I mean, for the most part, I did my thing. I got it out there. I got the idea going, and the ball rolled for, a good period of time. I mean, it went on for almost a year before it finally just died, which, like any idea, people just lose interest after a while. And the people who participated did so, and they're happy they did so. If that's all this amounts to, then fine. But I think what Mike is saying is, how do we do this? Let me get the ball rolling. Manage the outskirts of it to keep it in line, but not require 12 hours a day of my time to keep to get involved with those people.
I agree with not having Mike. I mean, I could command Mike to spend the time to manage this, but I don't think he'll listen to me. But what I think though is that sorry, Mike. I think this is an awesome idea. I really like this idea. And maybe it's something that if we were to put together, there was maybe a starter group who could just organize all the logistics and figure out what's needed for what to make it work exactly how it would work best. And then with that, send out to the community and say, okay, we need somebody who can host a web page, somebody who can make this function happen, somebody who can help with this part of, have all these little parts and just see.
Sure.
I don't know. Because I feel like if this is put together well, I mean, it's beneficial for any maker to get involved, and it's kind of a really cool community kind of like. No, I like the idea of having like a season,
I get it, and but I don't want to be the only ones here talking about this today. Jamie, we invited the community to join us and offer up their thoughts. I mean, you've been monitoring the chat. What are people out there? What are their thoughts on this? You got to unmute yourself, buddy.
It's his first day.
That would be very helpful.
Yeah, it's first day.
I mean, because let's be honest. I mean, we could all come up to a great idea in our minds, but it's the people out in the chat, the community themselves, the people that are going to get involved in this. So that's where we really need the info to come from.
So real quick, we got what, 30 some people watching. So real quick, all 30 of you in the comment, put IG if you'd rather have something on Instagram, FB for Facebook, YT for YouTube, or I'm not interested in this, and just put nothing.
Or yeah, just say no.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Just real quick, Steve Twidell has offered these services to help you get it up and running.
And maybe we can get
like the website and all that lot.
Parnell Media to help with the website.
Yeah, Steve Twidell. Parnell Media said the website's the easiest part.
Yeah, see, I'm not 100%. The last thing I want to do is rain on the kind of media side of it. I think this could be simply done with the existing platform, because at the end of the day, Mike or whoever is involved with doing this, it needs to be simple. But most importantly, it needs to be simple for people, because, like Chris has already alluded to, after a while people get sidetracked with other things. Things fizzle out, and if you're always going to need to give people a little push. And I say that because I'm constantly saying to people, you need to push me, because I get sidetracked. So I totally understand other people. But if you did it on something like, I talked about Instagram, and presumably Facebook Stories has got a similar thing, because they're probably written by the same people, with the voting side of it. One of the comments that came up was, you need a video or something to prove that the picture's legit. If you had in the picture,
yeah, that's true.
Either yourself or written on your hand, your entry and the date with the thing, that would probably be enough to legitimize it. But actually, I don't think many people would actually cheat, because there are some exceptionally clever internet people in the community that would in an instant go, no, that's not yours, busted. And people would just be too scared to do that, I think, and too honest as well. So for me, simplicity's got to be the thing, because then it's easier for you to kind of push and prod and
it's got to be simple for both me and whoever's participating and the audience. So 3 rounds. I mean, it has to be simple all the way around.
If you built something and you weren't a YouTuber, I think if you said it's a video, that would deter people from it being a video. But if you were a YouTuber, you'd probably video it anyway. So would you need it to have to be a YouTube video, or could you go with just the picture with some kind of legitimizing thing in the image?
I mean, it don't even need to be a full. I'd actually rather not have a full build video, step by step.
Because people wouldn't watch them all the way through.
Right. I would even say limit it to the build process, minute, 2 minutes, somewhere in there, and then say, for example, if it's a video format, I would spend minute and a half or so building the thing, quickly going through the process, then the last 30-40 seconds or so, okay, here's what I did, here's the finish I used, here's the process I've done, and now go vote for me or contestant B. If it's a video form, if you do it on Instagram and it's a video format, it has to be under a minute.
Yeah, so but what you could do is if you did it via something like Instagram, or on the I'm thinking the social, fast moving social media platforms, you could always link the videos to that, but you wouldn't necessarily have to have a build video.
That's true. That's very true. The other part of this is, and we haven't talked about this, is as a contestant or a maker or whatever, what's in it for you? You always have to ask that question, what's in it for me? And if you go head to head with somebody with 70,000 subscribers or 100,000 followers or whatever, I want some of their audience to start following me, and that's what's in it for you. So whether that's, some people are really big on Instagram, some people want the YouTube followers, some people want Facebook followers for some reason. That's it's I don't know.
Well, I tell it up to vote so far since we've started this chat, and as far as what medium they think that this should go on, I mean, it's YouTube. I've got 10 votes for people saying this should be done on YouTube. 4 people, excuse me, saying this should be done, but coordinated on a website. Well, only one person thought Facebook was a good idea. So yeah, thank you for shooting down what I just thought. Anyway,
Facebook's dying, guys.
Yeah, well, it's just that no. Let's be honest. Facebook is just a pain in the ass lately, and a lot of people just aren't enjoying being there, and I understand that. So the 2 winners are Instagram and YouTube, but they both tied with 10 people voting for each. And then there was the web page where people thought, and not wrongly, that a web page might be, if there was somebody who had a website up there that wanted to point all the voting in that direction, you could therefore then include all of the mediums just by showing the links.
Sure.
So I mean, that makes a lot of sense to coordinate it through a web page, but involve all the social medias as far as where people post videos or pictures or whatever the case may be. I mean, it's it just depends on how much time you want to put into it, Mike, is the deal. And from what I understand is you want to get and correct me if I'm wrong, you want to get this thing started, get the community involved in something as a community, but let them take care of it after you've started it.
Yes.
And if you have to kind of mother hen it here and there, then you're okay with that, but you don't want to be like the governing manager where you have a ton of work to do every friggin' day.
That's right.
Yeah.
Steve at Temple Boy Turnings is saying that web page would work and build galleries, and it makes me think, you know what, that would be a cool, awesome end result, would be a gallery and collection of the community make stuff. And again, I'm gonna have to fight for that web page space. I agree with the web page. It allows the most diversity in programming and putting different options in and things like that.
I do agree with the website. The problem is, who's going to manage that and take control of it? It took me 5 hours to write a website article today, and it was the simplest web article that I got on my website. So now we're talking about bringing in, potentially,
somebody else to help you manage this.
I think Steve's already said he'd help out with that.
Steve's already got a domain registered.
Yeah, he's probably already done it now. He's probably already writing it all out. So, we did have another question from KSFWG. He said, "Is it going to be wood only, or wood and metal, or wood and plastic, or?" I guess because it could be like weird. I mean, say for argument's sake, the Redsmith wanted to take part.
Sure.
And he said, "Right, I challenge you to forge something." Well, there's going to be a lot of people that haven't got forges, or do some leather work. There's a lot of people that haven't got a clue how to do leather work.
Yeah, I don't care who's involved and what project it is. It's just whoever you're going up against, you two have to, commit to that.
Decide what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than doing the free for all. Yeah.
If you guys want to build a house and whose is better, I mean, by all means, here's your time frame.
Yeah.
Well, who can?
If you want to turn a pin.
If you want to glue popsicle sticks together the most clever way, then feel free. I mean, no, it doesn't. But that's why this incorporates the entire community, because it doesn't matter your skill set, and it doesn't matter what you want to do, or how it just depends on how we execute the plan. I guess is what you're talking about, Mike. Is because if somebody's on YouTube and they're going to get involved with this, then they're going to do a video on it, and they're going to put it on their channel, and they're going to probably give it some life as far as publicity goes from that standpoint. Sure. But if somebody's not on YouTube and they're only on Instagram, but they want to get involved and do something, and all they need to do is take a picture of it to submit it, then that's easy enough to do. And if somebody's just on Facebook and hears about it and they figure out, all I need to do is take a picture and put it next to the, somebody I'm going to compete with this week, then that's fine. That's real easy. That's not hard at all. I just didn't know how far you wanted, or how big, or what your aspirations were for this challenges, Mike, because I love the idea. I freaking love the idea. I don't know how to coordinate it. Is what I guess
I'm the same way. I think it's a good idea. I think there's merit to it. It's just a matter of there's just so much logistics, and so many things could go right or wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, everything could fall in place and be perfect, and this goes on for years, and and everything could die out tomorrow.
If you did it by season, though,
I do like the season, like the Makers League. Take 16 contestants this league, and between the months of August and whatever, take 5 months and make this, and then kind of do the bracket. I do kind of like that. I mean, I've been kind of in the back of my head trying to figure out the logistics way of it, but I do like that path.
That option, you could, if you did that the season route rather than the straightforward linear type, you could gauge the first season, what works, what doesn't work.
Sure. And
without it being
too much.
And if it is too much, then it gets changed. But if it let's say it was too much in the first season, you got your 16 people that are all competing, and then suddenly it becomes too much to do one part of it.
Right.
That can still be changed mid-season, because it's not going to necessarily affect the standing. No one's necessarily going to be put at a disadvantage or an advantage mid-season. And if it was, so let's say, for example, you said, well, now we've got to do it by by Friday, you've got to have done your project, and 10 of the 16 people say, but I've got work and I can't possibly do a project, and 6 people do. That obviously puts some people at an advantage and some people at a disadvantage. So you could say, right, start of next season, that will apply, and you can constantly be.
How about we do this? And it might simplify things on Mike's part a lot if we did it this way. Jason, is it possible to set up like a Google document for people to sign up that are interested in doing this? Okay, so if we set up a Google document and make it and Mike, look, I have limited reach as far as reaching people, but I'm willing to I'll do a video about this whole project we're talking about if we finalize it. But if we can point people to that document to sign up, the only prerequisite would be that if you sign up, you have to find somebody to compete against you, and all you need to do at the end of the day is take a photo of your project and the person that you've got to join you in this competition, have them take a photo, and then submit this to Mike or whoever or Steve on the website. Because Steve Twidell has said, I watched him in the chat earlier, said he'd handle this on a website. Submit it to Steve so that whenever you're done, whether it's tomorrow or whether it's next month or 2 months from now, you'll have something to submit into this challenge, and then we have a start date and we have an end date for it, and that's season 1.
All right.
Does that make sense? I mean, does that simplify it for you? Because all we're looking to do is kick this thing off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then let it go from there. So it either takes on a life of its own or there's no interest. And so there's no harm, no foul either way. It's a try. We have we think it's a good idea. I mean, I know I do. So I'm willing to try.
Mm-hmm. And I like the idea of having a set number of enters right away, like registered, and it's all set up.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what they're doing, and see how that traction builds.
Sure. Because you know what, like Jamie was saying, let's say the Redsmith wants to get involved and he wants to do a leatherworking project. Well, I don't do leatherworking project, but I guarantee you, if the Redsmith does, leatherworking, he's going to know somebody else that also does leatherworking too. And he might be able to reach out to that person and say, hey, let's get involved with this. I'll do one, you do one, we'll submit the photos together at the end of the day, let people vote on them, and it'll just be a good time. Because that's what most of us are in our shops for anyways, to have a good time.
Some of the most successful campaigns have been the ones where everybody's pre-registered and we list everybody else who's involved with it in the description. I don't know. I've found personally that those have, and coming back to what's in it for me.
Right.
Yeah, and actually,
absolutely.
What Chris just said about using Red's example with leather, he's going to know somebody with leather. That would mean that everything would be open to everybody, rather than doing this week we're doing leather projects and this week we're doing metal projects. You could, I don't know, right, this is the season consists of 6 matches, so of the however many people have registered, you play 6 games and points at the end of that. And you might get, potentially everyone could draw and it could be equal at the end, but actually who cares, because it's not about I'm the best maker, it's about getting out and doing it rather than anything else. So
what about, roll with this here, say we do a bracket and do this on the website. So first season, let's say 12 people, keep it semi-short or semi-small to figure out do's and don'ts. So would you do 1 week for one project, or so like the first bracket, I guess I'm explaining that all wrong.
How about if you had a set number of people and you said, right, the season lasts from, I don't know, from today until the end of this month, whatever the date is. The time period's irrelevant, but set the time period and set the number of matches, and then basically let people kind of talk to each other. So, if I want to do a router project, there's no point me saying to Jamie, but I could say to Chris, do you want to do a router project? Yeah, okay, we'll do that, and then we could both submit that as one of our 6 things or whatever, and that's then all you're doing is collating a whole load of names, saying you've got between now until this date to come up with 6 things or 5 things or whatever it is. Leave it up to them. If they do it, great. If they don't, they're going to be at a disadvantage because they've only put in less than 6. That's less points open to them and potentially a lower standing in the season. So those people that are up for it, really up for it and have the time, can, but they're not necessarily an advantage over somebody that does an 80-hour week.
Sure.
Because they can still only put in the same amount of times. And actually, I think that would take a lot of pressure off you. I think it's, where did I see it? Somebody put in the comments that everyone sounds very serious tonight. And It is.
It's what happens. It's what happens when we're thinking. It's like we're not. Thinking is hard for us. Come on. Thinking's not easy. We have to get serious, and it's because it takes energy and stuff.
Making is a serious business.
Well, we want to have fun, and we're trying to set up the premise to where anybody who wants to can get involved, because this is a community. So we don't want to limit it. I mean, granted, you may limit the first bracket to a certain number of people, but the point is that you don't have to be somebody, ish. This is not a clique thing. It's whoever the first 12 people are that want to get involved. Yeah. But the idea here behind it is that if you're gonna say, hey, I'll do that, then you've got to commit to doing it. And it's just not, guys, just trust me, just from running the whole Channel Pass thing that I did, I used to have commitments. Oh, I would love to. I'd love to. And then, then the interest wanes, the next day, and then all of a sudden they don't really want to do it anymore. So it's you've got to
really do it, but don't have the time.
Or something comes up. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying it would be good to have a number of people, more than probably you need that you're currently envisioning, already in the bag saying, I am down to do this. And I am willing to find somebody to compete against me. You don't need to worry about setting me up against somebody else. I'll find somebody. Since I've committed, I'll find somebody to go up to myself, and then me and that person will go do it, and we'll take pictures, and we'll send them to Steve Twidell so he can put them on his website whenever, Mike, you decide you want to release it. I mean, if you want to do this competition on a weekly basis, then once a week, Steve just updates the freaking page and says, here's the 2 photos this week, guys, vote, and then obviously the people are out there YouTubing it, and they're involved in this. They're going to do a video on the project they make anyway. So they're going to be out there promoting the fact, if you like my video or you like my project, go over here and click this. Or if there's a big IG user out there who's got a lot of followers and I'm getting involved with this, go over and to this website and vote for me, that kind of thing. That works.
I do like that,
That works.
Yeah, have the website with just 2 pictures, or maybe 2 pictures of the project. Each person submit 2 pictures, front and back, or something like that.
You could even have it even less hassle than that, potentially, if you set up a Facebook page or a group. If people want to join, they just join the group. And by joining the group, that's them in the league. And then each week you could have the what's the thing at the top, the banner thing, as the 2 pictures, or you could have a pinned post for the week, and all people have to do is click A or B or comment on that one and that one, and then at the end of that week those results go into the table, which is like a running document, and you've got the gallery, and that's already set up for you. And if you're worried about time, so me and Chris could do our router project, and Jason and Jamie could do a similar project at the same time, but then all you've got and submit them to the page, but then that week they're voting on that, and that week they're voting, or you could do them concurrently.
That's why I was thinking more along the lines of running the competition, or the whole collaboration thing for a more of an extended period of time than 1 week. I'm thinking more like 2, maybe. Okay, let's just go with 2 months to begin with. There's 1 week in each month, so therefore there's 8 weeks. There's 8 people to begin with, and you ask for anybody who wants to sign up to sign up. Okay. And so you may get 20 people to sign up and say, I'm willing to do this. But the first time you're going to pick, 8 people, and the 8 people that you pick, therefore now have to go find somebody to do the competition with. And then they do it and they throw it up there. And it's just kind of a, the whole idea behind this, Mike, and correct me if I'm wrong, is just you're looking to start a collaboration amongst the community, so the community gets involved once again with each other, and collaborations start happening again, because they've really waned. I haven't seen a collab video, and I can't tell you how long. And it's those are fun to do. First of all, having been involved in a few, but they're great to watch too.
I was just looking through the comments there briefly, see if there'd been any updates. Right. Did we actually come to any kind of conclusion or anything on there?
No, I think we made everything harder.
Well, Mike, I think worst case scenario, I think we've given you some ideas to chew on, and sure. If you want to move forward with this and keep it simple, stupid, I think there are probably several ideas out that will help you do that. I think it would help, and this is just me talking off the top of my head, but I think that first it would be beneficial to you to find a way to gauge the community's interest in it. And now that we've gotten the idea out there, a good portion of the maker community is now aware of it. It would be a way to, I don't know if you want to do it on Facebook or however you want to do it on Instagram, Mike, or whatever you feel most comfortable, but gauge what people's interest in it would be, find out who would be willing to participate. And then whether it's worthwhile or not. I mean, because if you get, you may get inundated with like 30, 40 people going, yeah, I'd get involved with that. And if even being the pessimist that I am, you figure you've got half that many that are actually going to freaking do it. You've still got 15 people out there that are willing to take part in this. And once the ball gets rolling, it tends to, obviously it picks up, if you start a snowball, this big at the top of the hill, it gets to be a pretty big one by the time it gets to the bottom of the hill. So you never know how it's going to roll.
So, Jamie, what is this? Somebody already has this idea out there?
Dave G Designs, or Dave Gunner, was about to have a Connery out in the chat because he was trying to contact me for about half an hour. Apparently, it's out there already, or a challenge very similar to what you was describing, called Woodshop Wars, on a channel called Mad Raven Woodworks. And it's basically, from what I can see at the moment, they pick a subject of what we're all going to make, and it seems like it's 4 friends, and they all challenge each other, and they chat on YouTube in the comment section, gives their vote on who's going to win.
And I wish them luck on that, but I think the idea that Mike is talking about is broader than just woodworking. Is broader than woodworking. I mean, because obviously you could bring in crafting, you could bring in. Even if Kat wanted to get involved with crocheting, needlepoint, whatever the case may be,
you could take on Ellen.
She could take on. Sophie could take on. Little mini maker builds. I mean, it could. I think the platform that Mike is talking about encompasses more than just woodworking, which is why I liked it so much, because it encompasses the entire community. Whatever you're doing, whether it's metalworking, crafting, woodworking, whatever, it under this umbrella, it fits. And I'm not saying, I wish him the best of luck with what he's trying to do, but I think Mike is trying to do something slightly different. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And actually, you could take that even further. If you said, right, I'm going to make a pencil case, depending on how you worded the challenge.
Yeah.
Kat could crochet a pencil case, and I could make one out of wood, or Red could make one out of leather, or you're not constricted to mediums.
And I've even thought about like a kind of a battle royal type thing. You have 10 people making a pencil case. Those 10 people are going to make that pencil case different.
Yeah,
and people out there are going to learn 10 different ways to make one. I use that for example because Dresta just did a video where he made 10, 15 pencil holders boxes in 10 different ways, and I would have never thought about any of those.
Like wrestling or make a belt.
There you go.
I love this idea. I mean, not just the fact that you could have loads of people. Anything that gets even 2 people making another project which they may not necessarily have done, and putting a video out there and sharing it and enjoying what they're doing is beneficial. So I don't think numbers need to be worried about. Just the fact that people want to get involved and promote that side of it is the way to go, and then everything else I think will click into place and evolve over time.
Yeah, if we can leave this discussion as open-ended as we're going to end up having to, Mike, I think it's going to be important for you just to find out who gauge the interest, and then take the concepts that have been thrown out to you, and then you put it together, and know that if you want to come back on with us in the future and launch it, I mean, the door's open.
It'll cost you another $150.
No, yeah, right. Right. No, I mean, seriously, Mike. I think everybody here is behind it.
It's just $300 check.
Oh God, please.
Wait a minute, you got paid.
Well, you don't.
As soon as you bring money into anything, people start getting to be assholes. I'm sorry, I hate to say it. Anyway,
I know I've been an asshole all the time.
No, well, God, I agree. Richard, even though Joe's not here, we're already at over an hour, so we should probably wrap this up. Even as we haven't finalized anything, but Mike, we've given you food for thought, and I hope it helps.
And brainstorming is better than anything in my book.
There you go. All right,
wrong podcast for that.
Absolutely. We might not have got to a singular point at the end, but we're further down the track, and I think that's as important, if anything else. But we're only 2 minutes over, Chris.
Well,
I actually started it on time, so I think we're in a good place.
I'm not okay. You got to talk. Well, you have to answer to Joe. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna say a word. I don't care. We can go for another hour, as far as I'm concerned. But I think maybe you might want to wrap this up for your own rear end.
I was going to do that to Joe, Chris.
But I'm not.
Does anyone have any good shout outs this week? I've got one, but it's not a good one.
Yes.
Okay, Jamie, do you want to hit us with the shout outs for this week?
Yes, okay. My shout out is going to go to Matt Cremona. I don't want to really say too much about the video because it kind of take away from what it's all about and such and such. But if you know Matt's work, you know he does some real nice, awesome, detailed stuff. Well, this video he kind of hooked it back up with Dima again, and he made a brass shavings handle for a brass-headed hammer. So yeah, Matt Cremona and well Dima too, because they both have channels. So yeah, Matt and Dima.
And they're nice guys as well, both of them. But, anyone else got a good shout out? I'm just kind of half listening, but looking through the chat still to find something.
Our friend the Redsmith is mine today. Gerald put out a great video earlier today on a knife that was made by Steve House that was given to him, and he did a leather sheath for it to to wear and so that he could use it. I just thought it was a cool video, and I like Red's production. So I mean, that's my shout out for today.
He's always good. When did Red ever put out a video that wasn't awesome?
I don't know. And I hate him for that because he does awesome videos. Whatever. Someday maybe he'll teach me. Jason, what about you, buddy?
Well, Tim Sway's got me into thinking about making a guitar, and I've been watching this guy. His name is Hovington Guitar, and he's making a vintage instrument case. I thought that was really cool to see how he put that together and the different materials that he used.
That's Tommy Hovington, right?
Yeah, Tommy Hovington.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
Nice. I saw the thumbnail in my subscription feed. I haven't had a chance to watch that yet because I've been binge watching Game of Thrones the last few days, but it's something that I have noticed. It's on my radar. Mike, have you been watching much YouTube lately? Do anyone you want to shout out?
Yeah, I still watch my stuff every night. One I don't watch a whole lot of, but I did catch this one. Darbin's last video. Darbin Orver. It says driving across country and where's my new shop. It's not a project video or anything. It's more a vlog type situation. But you could tell she is pretty excited about, moving from one side of the country to the other. And, just listening to her talk on this particular one, it kind of made me kind of cringe a little bit because that's a scary situation she's doing. And, she's driving over there and not having a place to live. And she's, starting a whole new life across country. And it was kind of interesting. So that was my pick.
I actually have watched that, and the thing that got me, it was kind of a weird thing. As you're watching the video, the weather and the background, it just completely changes. From 1 minute it's chucking it down with rain, and then it's dark, and then it's like desert, and it's like that's a serious road trip. That is. But,
she constructed the video very well.
Very well indeed. It's kind of weird because I was going to sort of do a little tongue-in-cheek, almost pretend shout out about that there's a channel, Mad Ravens Woodshop. Apparently they're doing a series of challenges, but that was before you mentioned your shout out, because my shout out, I'm going to take the liberty of being a little bit cheeky this week, and I think it's going to lead into, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but something we're going to be talking about next week.
Oh, you're right. We're going to spend next week's show on this.
No one's going to listen to me talking for an hour, but anyway, this week's shout out from me is actually one of my videos, but bear with because it's only like 1.5 minutes long. It's a trailer for a series which has already started in terms of the production. pre and post production with Jamie, and it's a road trip that I'm doing. So that kind of ties into what you were just saying there, Mike. It's kind of a weird. I wasn't expecting you to say that, but yeah, that's my shout out. It's a little thing on my channel that's going on. You'll find out next week about that. So,
that's awesome.
Cool. I don't think we've got anything else to talk about.
Yeah, I've got to do
Jamie's page. Oh, okay then.
Basically, there's a couple of guys on a YouTube channel called Brothers Make. I don't know. I think they're related somehow. And they recently passed 1,000 subscribers, and they've actually got a giveaway. And there's a couple of weeks left on their giveaway to win a load of free tools. So yeah, go and head over to their YouTube channel and go and win some free, or try and win some free tools. And hit that subscribe button while you're over there. They're good dudes.
Well, I don't know about good dudes, because they tried to run me over at Maker Central. They failed.
I'm not being funny, but I would have done the same.
Yeah, you're probably right. Actually, it's probably not that uncommon a thing, really, when you think about it. But it still doesn't excuse that they tried to run me over in the world's biggest pickup truck, I might add. But, Mike, thanks for coming on tonight. It was an interesting discussion. Apologies for everyone that thought we were a little bit serious, but as we've kind of alluded to, that's what happens when we actually have to think rather than just mess around. So,
I thought pretty hard tonight. And that's so not me.
Well, I think it's probably time to wrap this up. We'll let Joe do the edit at some point, and obviously you can go off and have some Advil now. So
Right.
If you are still listening to us, thank you very much. If you're not, we'll say what we like about you. But until next week, we wish you well. Take care, and we'll see you soon.
Have a great week, everybody.
See you later, everybody.
Peace.